Let's turn to today's declaration of drought as a national disaster affecting several provinces in South Africa. The interministerial team on drought and water scarcity says with no sign of abating, it's become necessary to step in and assist on a resource level. Now to tell us just how the money is going to basically be dispersed, will be spent as well. We're joined from our Cape Town studios by Cooperative Governance Minister, and that is Zweli Mkhize. Dr. Mkhize, thank you very much for your time. I think let's begin with that first question. How will this money be spent in respect of the national departments, whether it be water and sanitation, right down to the provincial governments?
Well, we have today declared a state of national disaster on drought in terms of the legislation Act number 57 of 2002, which guides government on the steps to follow in the case of disaster. Initially, it was classified as disaster, in which case all the different spheres of government would use their own resources, their own legislation to be able to respond to the drought, to protect human life, to help to protect property and to deal with the needs of society. Now what has happened is because the signs are not showing any improvement, we have now moved on in terms of the act to declare a national state of disaster, and this allows us to organize government differently, more coordination, but it gives space for various municipalities, provinces and other agencies that are involved in the management of the drought and water scarcity to access funds and to work together in a way that will ensure an enhanced response to the problem of drought. So the money that they will be applying for, it's not only money, but money is one of the main issues, and it's about improving access to water. So you'll have seen in some of the areas in the Western Cape, they've used some of the money to provide food for the animals because of the challenges with the grazing, and in some areas they would use that to bring water tanks to bring to communities that are distressed. In other areas, they would mean that there might be emergency construction of pipes that will have emergency access to water that would not have been available all along. And so it takes a whole a new dimension of additional activities that are looked at. For example, the South African Weather Services has to take an application to look at research that's going to give us more information and map much more closely what kind of pattern our weather is going to be taking in the next couple of years. And all of this is the reason why there's a need for the declaration.
Minister, you've given us, I think, a brief outline of the plan going forward. Are you able to give us a timeline of how long this is going to be in place for?
We have to the declaration will cover a period of up to about 3 months, but we can actually review the situation every month, and when we need to declare it again further, we'll actually be in a position to do that. We'll have a whole lot of advice that comes from the observation of what's happening in various provinces, municipalities and various agencies. This approach also means that we are able to assist non-governmental organizations, business and government to act together in response. So we'll keep monitoring on a month-to-month basis to see if there's an improvement in the situation, and then we have to redeclare or continue to elaborate further regulations to refine the coordination and the activities that are needed to ensure that the response is adequate to ameliorate the problem of water scarcity.
Minister, how do you respond to those who are saying that this has actually taken too long, given that the drought has been with us now for some time? And I have in mind here Mr. Musi Maimane, who's really been vocal on this drought issue. And I guess just as a tongue-in-cheek, will you have a role to play at all in these plans going forward?
No, I wouldn't say that there's not been anything happening over the period, because in the first instance, It was in February last month when the drought was classified as such, but also there's been ongoing discussions and ongoing communication within various members of government at different levels in what we call the Joint National Disaster Committee. And so we've been working on this matter all along, and all we're doing is to match the need for increasing the intensity of our activities, the levels of coordination, and even to access the amount of money that was allocated in the last budget speech by the Minister of Finance, where he allocated 6 billion rand, which would be available for various forms of disasters and other contingency challenges. So because of that, it offers now an opportunity for various provinces to apply even to this kind of amount, and we've seen quite a good response to various institutions and provinces applying for this money, and we'll be in the next few months, in the next few weeks, able to indicate which ones have been awarded and what are the issues. But we believe that the blame game need to stop. Drought is a serious a national disaster that we must all work together. I don't think we must bring in politicking into it. I don't think that we must focus on differences of views. We must focus on how to mobilize all our people to respond to the problem.
All right. Thank you very much, Minister. That is Dr. Zweli Mkhize, the Cooperative Governance Minister.